is basically needed to be fulfilled. The last four, I mean the previous four, need to be fulfilled in order for the need for actualizations can be fulfilled. And this is the result that I can explain this to you all. The first one is the psychological needs. So, you know, just like I said earlier, Altair as a character, she is not completely human. It's more like a human, but in with a different type of psychological need, physiological need. I'm sorry. The first one, in order for her to, you know, fulfill her physiological needs, you know, such as sleep or rest or stuff like that, she doesn't really need to you know, fulfill those. But for her to be able to protect her own physiology or physics is basically using her magic and holopsychom. I know this sounds very ridiculous, but it is what it is. You can see from the GIF or animated GIF that you can see in my presentations. And this is just how, you know, she can manipulate everything. This is just one of the example, because there is one example that I can give you as a fact proof, absolute proof, but it was too gory to be shared by everyone. So I'm just using this as a sort of, you know, an example for it. So it is more acceptable. So, and the second one would be the audience acceptance. In order for a fictional character to be born in the world, they need some sort of acceptances. So with the audience acceptance, it became reality. This can be, you know, proven by one of the statement by one of the creators inside the anime. She stated, and I quote, "One problem we couldn't avoid, acceptance, but we solved that. We brought Arena," this is one of the characters who died, "back to life first and had Meteora cooperate." Meteora is one of the protagonists. And the audience approve it. This is basically a fact or like an evidence that audience acceptance really is important for a creator or creations to, you know, to born or to become reality. And this is one of the example, if you can see it from the pictures, that there's so many of the illustrations of Altair. This means this is basically an audience acceptance, a form of audience acceptance. Okay, we can go now for the second part, which is the need for safety. Need for safety, just like I said earlier, is the need for like some place to rest or someone that can protect them. You know, it's a sense of safety, basically. Now, if you can see from the two, one is like disappeared. So there's only 4 left that you can use as somehow for on a chair in the middle. If you all cannot see it, I'm very sorry. It was so little. But yeah, one of the other evidence for this is that if I shake the pillar right now, then I would be the one who repelled by the world. I quoted from Altair from episode 10, a minute 20 and 29 seconds. This is basically, she's basically telling us that her forms is not natural in the real world. That's why in order for her to not, you know, to lose her own self in the real world, she needed these 4 companions of her to do the job, so that she won't be, you know, rejected by the real world and potentially be erased from the real world. And that's how she fulfilled her need for safety. The third part would be the need for love and belongingness. As you can see from the pictures, this is her creator who, you know, magically returned back to life. She's, up until now, Altair as a character doesn't didn't really understand the concept of love and belongingness. That's why it, if we think about it, if she doesn't realize that she has someone's, who love her, she basically, couldn't fulfill things such as love and belongingness because she didn't know or doesn't know about it. Up until this episode, when she's met her creator, she just began to realize that she is not entirely alone. It's not that people hate her or anything. And can be seen by Setsuna Shimazaki quote, "It is true that you are my altar, but you are no longer my only altar, because everyone loves you, and it is why you have become this strong." This can be seen from the previous picture, and the third picture is on the right over here. This is some sort of sign or evidence that Altair indeed being loved by a lot of people, if not only by her creator, Setsuna Shimazaki, but also a lot of people. This has changed her her idea to destroy the world because of the feelings want to avenge her death, a creator, because of the cyberbullying. And the fourth part would be the need for self-esteem. Need for self-esteem, from what Abraham Maslow said, there's two ways that an individual can, fulfill this need.
Mr. Agri, you have 1 minute left.
2 minutes. I'm sorry, I have what?
You have 1 minute left.
Okay. So the net for self-esteem come from two different sources, based on Abraham Maslow theories. The first one coming from the internal source, which is the self-pride, when someone's knew that they're strong or actually reliable to someone. And the second one would be the outside source, is basically acceptance from other people that that individual is actually useful for something, or they're very good at something. This is how the need for self-esteem of a certain individual can be fulfilled, which in this case, if you guys, I'm sorry, if you all can see from the pictures that I put on my presentations, both of them, all these three indicates so. The last one will be the subnets for self-actualizations. Basically, need for self-actualizations come with two different variants. The first one is internal and external. So internal is basically an individual conquer their own fear of theirs, or doubt or self-doubt in the end. And from the external, it would be the the obstacles that they that actually manage to erase. And in this case is the train. If you can see from the animated GIF, this is like something is this cannot be avoided, but for some reason she can avoid it with her own power, which led to her last two pictures over here. And yeah, so that was it. As for the conclusion, so what I can give to all of you is that in order for some individual to reach their self-actualizations, the need for interacting with other people or other individual is actually important. If that one individual can somehow manage to do some sort of interactions, then it would be impossible for that one individual to get their self-actualizations. That was my conclusion, and thank you very much for your attention. I'm sorry if I'm a little bit stuttered here and there, or my speaking doesn't make any sense, because I'm very, very nervous right now. So yeah, thank you very much for all of your attention, and that was my presentation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Arisandi, for your interesting presentation. Unfortunately, we have no time to discussion. Then we will follow the sixth presentation by Ms. Maharani Patria Ratna, entitled The role of oral traditional in ecotourism conservation in Indonesia and Japan via video. Please, the operator, I think 10 minutes enough. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Maharani Patreratna from Diponegoro University. Today, I would like to present my paper entitled The Role of Oral Traditions in Ecotourism Conservation in Indonesia and Japan. So let's get started. This is my screen. Okay. Actually, I'm not alone writing this paper. So I'm together with Ms. Girindra Putri Ardana Respari, Mr. Fitri Alfarisi, and also my student, Resa Meana Devi. So there are 4 parts in this presentation. There are introduction, methods, result and discussion, and conclusion. So first, introduction. I would like to give you a short explanation about ecotourism. So ecotourism is one of the environmentally friendly tourism activities by prioritizing aspect of nature, conservation, aspect of sociocultural, economic empowerment of local communities, and aspect of learning and education. So kind of long definition, but when it comes to ecotourism, people usually will think about um, ecology and tourism. So means that ecology plus tourism, it means that tourism and ecology become one. So it's a kind of, you know, tourist destinations about nature, something like that. So prior to this study, there are also study from Ervinawati, and Ismawirna and Yogyanti. So the result of the Ervinawati and Ismawirna study is there are cultural values in the oral literature of Aceh Jaya community, including memories, customary regulation regarding application and historical matters. And then the other one is from Yogyanti. So the result is Sarumawasi, which has existed for thousands of years in Japan, has a historical value that cannot be separated from sociocultural Japanese society, which is related to the belief system and the hierarchical system of society. So the point is the difference between this study and the research conducted by Ervinawati and Ismawina is that this research focuses on the role of oral tradition, while Ervinawati and while for Yogyanti discusses the use of oral tradition for the preservation of art in Japan, while the study discusses description of role of oral tradition in ecotourism conservation. So, okay, I want to minimize first. Okay, this one is better. And then now we are talking about methods. So I'm gonna make it quick. my time is running. So this research belongs to qualitative descriptive research because it is carried out by describing the phenomenon of particular object descriptively. So there are 3 stages in conducting this research. There are data collection, data analysis, and presentation of results. So in the study, data were collected through interview and literature study methods. So let's get to the point. So we are talking about result and discussion here. So actually the term of oral tradition refers to stories that have been passed down from generation to generation by a community. That's oral tradition, and that's what we're discussing today. So the role of oral tradition in ecotourism conservation in Indonesia. So there are I'm reading about Talaga Warna, Spring of Gede, Lake of Toba, Spring of Jambu, Tangkuban Perahu Mountain in my paper. You can check it later, but I would like to tell you about maybe Talaga Warna. Yeah, so I will check one just to tell you. Well, actually, Talaga Warna, what's behind Talaga Warna? So actually, the story behind the oral tradition about Talaga Warna is about there are several oral traditions in the community regarding to the lack of colors. One of which that there used to be a queen and a princess who would bathe in a lake, but after taking off their clothes, the clothes flew in the wind so that they covered the entire lake. So this make the water in Talaga Warna can change colors until now. So yeah, I think it's amazing. The weather can change, you know. And then that's one of the example from Indonesia. And what about the role of oral tradition in ecotourism conservation in Japan? So I would like to lead you to Fuji Mountain here. So it's the most popular, I think, as a landmark of Japan. So actually, in the past, people believed that women were not allowed to visit Mount Fuji because it was feared that the fire goddess who lived on Mount Fuji would be jealous of the beauty of other women. Gradually, in 1860s, women were allowed to visit Mount Fuji. Wow, what a legend, you know. This is so amazing. And the last one is, yeah, the conclusion. So to conclude my paper, I would like to say that there are 4 essential roles of oral tradition in ecotourism development, namely oral tradition as a medium for ecotourism attraction, oral tradition as a medium for developing tourism area, and oral tradition as a medium for developing tourism product, and the last one is oral tradition as a medium for developing human resources. That's all from me. So if you have any question, don't hesitate to contact me. Okay, I have my contact here. Okay, let me share screen. Let me share screen. Okay, this is my contact. You can contact me if you have any question. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's all from me, and bye-bye.
Okay, thank you, Miss Maharani Patria Ratna. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Irwan Budiman. His presentation is entitled Identification of Halal Risks Using the Host of Risk Methods for Food MSMEs or usaha kecil menengah ya, UMKM in Medan City. Please, Mr. Iwan Budiman, time is yours. Hello, Mr. Irwan Budiman.
I'm sorry, Mr. Slamet. I
Okay.
think he's not here today.
Okay, okay, thank you. So we come to the last presenters, Dr. Nur Hayati, with her paper entitled Traditional Views and Attitude Towards Waste and Rifle in Indonesia, Challenges of Cleaning Up the Indonesian Polluted Environment. Please, Dr. Nur Hayati, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Slamet. Can you hear my voice?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Yes. Well, this is my turn, exactly. Should I present now?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, thank you, Mr. Slamet. Well, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, and thank you very much
Afternoon.
for the chance this afternoon. Actually, I'm not alone, but I'm with my friend, my colleague, Mr. Peter Suwarno from Arizona State University. But because of the difference time, Pak Peter Suwarno cannot join this afternoon. So I will present alone here. Okay, let me share my PowerPoint. Okay, is the PowerPoint can be seen in your screens?
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. Yep. Well, okay. Yeah. The title of our paper is about traditional views and attitude toward waste and river in Indonesia. This is challenges of cleaning up the Indonesian polluted environment. And as you know that pollution is a big problem in Indonesian cultures and society. So this is one reason why we conduct the research regarding to the waste dumping and in Indonesian polluted environment. And we try to connect these environments phenomena with cultural approach. Yeah. So this is the contents that we are going to present now, consisting of introductions, theoretical frameworks, methods, result and discussion, and a conclusion. So this is a reflection of the part of our paper. Yeah, right. Yes. When we talk about the introduction, we talk about the condition of the Japanese community, especially we inform the reader that almost 80% of the Japanese community live near rivers. So rivers become part of their life. Yeah. And this is for a long time that river, according to the communities, river has fulfilled their daily needs. So the Japanese community, almost the Japanese community cannot be separated from its environment, especially in the river. So you can see that people live in the uh, riverside, and there is also a transformation in a value that in the traditional era that living near rivers reflected low social status, yeah, hidup di bantaran sungai, means that the community come from the low society. But using a foreign language, yeah, riverside residents and etc. So the power of language can change the value of riversides. This is the relationship between the environment's phenomenon and culture, especially in language. Yeah, this is only the illustration that we give to you about the important function of river in for the Japanese communities. Yeah, and then we also try to describe that yeah, Japanese community has a traditional views, has an attitudes, and also has a behavior that will be and that has been um, share knowledge or general knowledge among the communities, uh, including how to manage river, how to manage dumping, yeah, and how to manage waste. Yeah. So it comes from years to years. But as far as the coming of modern lifestyle, industrial lifestyle, yeah, so rivers have been contaminated with industrial and domestic waste. Yeah, while the traditional views and attitude and also behavior of using river has been happened up to now, and then the modern lifestyle has a influence on contaminating the rivers because of their industrial waste, yeah, plastics, as well as domestic waste. On the other side, government and also community efforts have limited success in managing the waste. So this is our curiosity why in the other side there is a wisdom, traditional views, and then there is also government efforts for controlling the community in managing waste. There is also community efforts uh, for educating people to keep the environment clean, but still there is a pollution, especially a river pollution and also the waste pollution. So this is why and how to manage and how to solve the problem. This is the problem of our society now in Indonesia and especially in the Japanese. Yeah. Okay. For the literature review, yeah. So we use three theoretical statement, theoretical presupposition, yeah, and that the first one is that educating people is effective if it is accompanied by threatening. This happened in the developing country. Yeah, it must be threatened to be effective. Yeah, so when there is no threatening, maybe educating is not or less effective. This is the first statement. Yeah, assumption, and then the second one, psychological construct sustaining deep-seated attitude and behavioral patterns in lead to unacceptable habit of responsible behavior, yeah, especially in managing waste. So because there is a deep-seated attitude relating to the managing waste from year to year, from generation to generation, it will be psychological construct resided in the minds of the community. So it is very difficult to accept the habit that is not different from the existing habit. So it is very difficult. So giving the new nuance lead to unacceptable habit. So it is very, very difficult to accept the new habit that is not, yeah, that is not same or that is not similar to their previous habit. Yeah. And then the third one, practice that have become habitual routine that reside in their minds, that become their general knowledge in a society, becomes difficult to change. It comes to the ideological thinking. It comes to be the ideological praxis. And when the habitual routine becomes the ideological thinking or ideological praxis, it will reside for a long time. Yeah, and it is difficult to change in a drastic way. Yeah, so these three statements, these three assumptions underlined why instead of having regulation, instead of having um, traditional value and life, managing waste, managing dumping is still difficult to manage. Okay. Yes. Okay. The research use socio-psychological approach. Yeah, so this is a social studies, socio-psychological approach, considering the psychological aspects of the community and also the social context in which the environments in which the social event happened. Yeah. And then we use a documentary research, gathering from newspaper, from video, from song, and any other text. Text here means both oral and also written text. So it comes also from the text of academic article, such as the regulation. And then we also find out from the hard news and opinion. Yeah, this is the data source that we gather. And then to find the relevant data from the internet, from the search engine, we use the keywords such as menjaga lingkungan, and then pengelolaan sampah and polusi, and especially we can add the word sungai, yeah, because this is related with the Japanese community or Indonesian community. So we use the keywords in Bahasa Indonesia, in Indonesian language, to make it easily. Yeah. And then after gathering the data, we analyze the data using interpretative methods as usual, conducted by the socio-humanity studies, yeah, with the socio-cultural framing theory. Yeah, okay, this is the method that we use to conduct the studies. And then for result and discussion, the first is challenging, yeah, and threatening. Okay, first, that we know that actually some traditional shared knowledge are threatening in industrial era. Yeah, so we have two examples in our paper about the traditional shared knowledge in among the Japanese community. Those are the knowledge, those are the praxis of larung and bediang. And as you know that the lexicon larungs and bediang comes from the Japanese language. So Larong means throwing something, throwing stuff, yeah, of a boat, yeah. And usually larong is often associated with cultural praxis. This is a symbol, even though something that is thrown is about the goods or stuff. This is a symbol of throwing away a bad luck, yeah. And this is also offering, yeah, offering praxis, because this is the activity of throwing food, throwing something that can be used as a symbol of bad luck.
Excuse me,
Yes.
Ibu Nurhayati,
Yeah.
you have 1 minute
Oh,
left.
thank you. Okay, thank you. Well, this is about larong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Larong, um, the good that is larong previously is biometric goods, but yeah, in the industrial era, the goods for larong contain plastic and poison material. That we call that larong threatened the environments now. Yeah, and then the second one is pediang. This is the illustration of pediang. Pediang is okay, the burning stuff like grass and etc. to avoid the small animals that feed on the mosquito that bites their cattle. So pediang is also threatening because of the what we call it, the pediang can be dangerous for the pollution, air pollution. Yeah. And then the third challenges is economic development encourage urbanization. So in modern lifestyle, waste or dumping consists of non-biodegradable waste such as plastic. Yeah, this is the problem faced by the Japanese community now. Yeah, and then okay, on the other side, there is a regulation, government regulation, Act number 18 about the waste management. So importing waste is not allowed, but it still happened. And then also campaigning awareness of managing waste through public sign. There are many public signs, but surrounding public sign, there are also many waste dumping. So this is ironic. Yeah. So, okay, we can say here that discussion, long exposure, yeah, long exposures of, sorry, okay, sorry. Okay, let me, okay, that there are the three, yeah, the three element can influence the problem in waste management. So that's why we can say that we should make a solution. So what is the reason? Lack of services facilities. Yeah, lack of services facilities can be solved through, yeah, providing garbage bins everywhere. Yeah, and then we should also hire, or we should also need overseers everywhere, and also effective public signs. And then the second one, it can also be lack of enforcement of regulation. So people is not enforced um, to do the regulation. So what is the solution? Of course, enforcing the rule. Yeah. Okay. And then come to the conclusion that from the study, we can conclude that the drastic change of lifestyle is urgent needs. Traditional lifestyle, yeah, should be revised because there is a change in the lifestyle in modern era. Yeah, and then uh, changing the lifestyle can be done through education, campaigns, and of course, organizational movement. Yeah. And then the next, governments and communities commitment is needed. So commitment is needed to what? To shape perception and belief on the importance of environment for health. Is public science still needed? Yes. Science, public science, containing legal consequences because of the threatening that I have said before. Science, such as the details of the article and the specific finds, prove to be effective. So people must be threatened by the legal consequence to make the radical change, to make the drastic change of lifestyle in managing the habits, in managing the waste. Okay, that's our presentation. Thank you very much, Mr. Slamet Subakti. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, Ibu Nurhayati, for your interesting presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, because Mr. Irwan Budimanot presentation with us, so we have finished the first session of the 6th ICENIS 2021 seminar. I want to say thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Slamet.
Thank you for all.
You're welcome. Okay.
May I leave this room?
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. See you next time. Okay.